right, here we go on this Thursday, the final Thursday of the month of April. Can you believe it? I certainly can't. Time is flowing by, but in a good way here on the campus of Gannon University because we have a lot going on tonight and in through the weekend. Welcome in, everybody, to the 9th episode of the United Podcast, brought to you, as always, by our friends at UKnighted Tap House. That's where we are right now, the hustle and the bustle of this busy restaurant and all the great food and drink they have to offer. We thank them again for their patronage and giving us the opportunity to do our show week in, week out, every single week of the academic year here inside the Tap House on State Street. We got people outside lining up tables with the beautiful weather outside. We've got a lot of people inside as well, celebrating all that there is to celebrate because it is a special weekend and specifically a special next 26 hours on the campus of Gannon University, because as the theme will be tonight, starting this evening at 8 o'clock is the Centennial Celebrate Day of Giving for Gannon University, celebrating 100 years of Gannon University. And tonight we begin what will be a 24-hour extravaganza and exciting day of giving, opportunity for you to support Gannon Athletics, Gannon University, and the school you love so dear. So that's why tonight we're extending things out a little bit. Normally our show on the podcast is every single Thursday from 6 to 7, but if you watched us as we were getting ready for the show, something that you might notice that tonight we're going an extra hour. Our show this evening, that's right, is tonight from 6 to 8 p.m. here at the UKnighted Tap House. It's going to be broken down into two specifically different shows. Number one, from 6 to 7, is your typical excitement over Gannon Athletics and all of the teams that we have competing in the postseason this weekend. We have 3 specifically, and you'll hear from student athletes on the women's golf team who are getting ready to try to capture their 6th consecutive PSAC championship as a team. You'll also hear from women's water polo, 2 student athletes who just got recognized in all WWPA conference honors. They're going to be talking about their upcoming WWPA tournament and why postseason, they believe, will go just that much better than what it did last season. We'll also touch on just for a few minutes about acrobatics and tumbling, the excitement for Brandy Duren's squad as they are now in an individual event national championship at NCHEAs coming up this Sunday. We'll talk to them coming up in just a few minutes and preview that as well in just a few minutes. That's the 6 to 7 o'clock show. We, of course, have everything exciting. What's on tap dish of the day. We'll reveal our top 5 plays, our top 6 plays, I should say, for Play of the Year nominees for the end of the year celebration coming up on Tuesday. But then from 7 to 8, it is all Day of Giving focus as we count down the minutes until Day of Giving begins. We're going to hear from 3 separate Gannon Athletics alumni, prominent alumni, and why Day of Giving matters so much to them. We'll hear about their student-athlete experience and how meaningful playing sports was on Gannon University's campus and why they continue to give back today, day in and day out. So we can't wait for this show tonight. We are so excited to bring everything to you, and we are more than ready to have what's going to be an exciting Day of Giving episode. Before we get into our dish of the day, let's hear from a couple of teams as to what Day of Giving means to them.
This program means a lot to me. I've made some really great friends and some family friends along the way. It's a great community. I love all the support I get. These girls mean everything to me, and they make it just so fun. I don't think we would be able to have a lot of the experiences that we have, both in and outside of the pool, whether it's team bonding or extra training experiences. I think that the level that our team is at and our continued improvement definitely heavily relies on the donors and support we get from the public.
This program has led a lot to me. I've met my best friends, and the program has been very successful over the years, and it's great to be a part of the success we've had.
It's incredibly important. We couldn't do any of this without them, and so having them behind us is always really important. Things like us going to California for tournaments or Florida, those kinds of things, all kind of depend on them. And when they help us out, we're really appreciative of that.
If we wait any longer to reveal the dish of the day, Mitch Farnsworth is going to probably drop the dish of the day because it is fresh out of the oven and it's going to be delicious. Mitch, dish of the day today is none other than, and you can see it just by the look, it is the buffalo chicken pizza. Really no explanation needed. If you're a fan of spicy foods and you like pizza, well, I got the dish for you. This is a staple in so many different restaurants, and UPick6 does it better than anyone. Go ahead and take a bite, my friend. I'm not even going to ask you what it looks like and all that fun stuff. Of course, you've got the great buffalo sauce, but looks to be, I think, ranch as well to kind of counteract that spice of it. and you've got some other goodies on there as well. And of course, the chicken is kind of what makes this wheel turn here. Mitch, your thoughts on this, my friend?
It came out popping hot. It literally is falling off the top. It's sizzling so good, but my goodness, that's so good.
So I have to ask, because we've done now a lot of pizzas at You Pick Six. And by the way, you can get the dish of the day tonight from now until 10 o'clock for $2 off. Of course, every single week, the dish of the day, $2 off at the Tap House tonight from 6 to 10. Are you a crispy pizza guy or a doughy pizza guy?
Pizza's just a comfort food overall. So, but I think I'm more of a doughy. I like that more.
Yes, yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you. And typically when I talk to people, that's not necessarily something that they'll say. It's normally everyone likes the thin crust, the crispy pizza, the New York style, man. Mm-hmm. I'm all for like the Chicago deep dish. Give me as much dough as humanly possible.
Stuffed crust. I love them stuffed crust.
I'll tell you what, stuffed crust is delicious too. You can't beat stuffed crust, doughy pizza, whatnot. But this pizza is tremendous as well. And Mitch is going through it much faster than I can. I'm not really great at handling spicy food, so that's why we've got Mitch trying this and whatnot. But you can taste everything, I'm sure. I mean, it smells great from here. You can taste the spice, taste the ranch, taste the chicken as well. Where do you have this on the rankings of the pizzas that we've tried so far here at You Pick Six?
The grape was the grape?
Bacon grape flatbread.
That one was very good. Yep. I think this one tops that flatbread.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think this one, oh my goodness, so good. With the ranch on top, drizzled on top, it's just perfect.
So we have a new number one in terms of pizzas right now for Mitch Farnsworth in our dish of the day. He's going to go ahead and get cracking on that. Again, a reminder that our dish of the day every single Thursday that we do a podcast is $2 off from 6 until 10. So if you like pizza, if you like spice, if you like chicken, heck, if you just like food, this pizza is wonderful. You can head down to the You Pick Six Tap House right now. Of course, we're live from 6 to 8. The pizza is $2 off from 6 until 10. And it is just absolutely delicious.
I'm going to say, thank God this waiter gave me some water, because it has a kick to it, Isaac. I'm telling you.
I don't know. Good. I don't know if it'd be buffalo chicken pizza if it didn't have a kick today. All right. Hey, my friend, you can take that whole thing back and enjoy it, my friend. Again, a reminder, dish of the day, $2 off from 6 until 10. And I also give Mitch credit too. He ate an entire piece of pizza and didn't make a mess. This guy's got some. You've got some talent. I don't know. I'd try that pizza, and within 2 seconds, this entire table would be gone. So, all right. Thanks again to Mitch Farnsworth for trying our dish of the day. And again, a reminder: every single week, our dish of the day is $2 off from 6 until 10 o'clock on Thursdays that we do the podcast, the Buffalo Chicken Pizza, if you like spicy food. All right, as we've been talking about, our Centennial Celebrate Day of Giving begins in about an hour and 51 minutes from now. We'll have all the details as to how you can give and give back to Gannon Athletics and Gannon University. Want to point to that QR code in the top right corner of your screen. If you scan that QR code, that is how you can get involved with our Centennial Celebrate Day of Giving. And again, anything that you can do to help support our student athletes and support the university as a whole is just another way that we can continue to grow Gannon University and Gannon University athletics. Speaking of growing the athletic programs and growing the athletic success, we're going to hear tonight from a couple of teams who have really found success down the stretch of their season. And we'll start with women's water polo. I would be remiss if we didn't bring up the accolades that were just given out for the WWPA All-Conference this past week, and two of our standouts from the team receiving all-conference honors. First, Jade Strickland. She was named to the WWPA all-conference first team as well as the WWPA all-conference defensive team. So Jade gets those that double mention with both her great offensive ability and her defensive tenacity as well. Meanwhile, Molly Fair, sharpshooter, received an honorable mention for the WWPA all-conference team. So those two are getting set for what will be a very, very exciting tournament coming up this weekend in Morgantown, West Virginia, when they travel to head to the WWPA championships, taking on Fresno Pacific coming up on Friday. Gannon, the third seed out of the East. Earlier today, we spoke with both Jade Strickland and goaltender Molly Sabuna to talk about what this tournament means and if they believe they can get off to a right foot coming up on Friday. Joined by Molly Sabunia and Jade Strickland, two seniors who will be part of the team heading down for the WWPA championships this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Morgantown, West Virginia. I feel like we've been in West Virginia for almost every single winter or spring sports championship so far, but that is the way that it's gone so far this year as they're getting set to take on Fresno Pacific in what will be an exciting tournament. Let's start with this, Molly. Long season, obviously. You're in the pool, which seems like 9 months before the season starts. Take us through what you've really enjoyed this season, kind of the excitement for finally being at championship weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I think all throughout our preseason and then leading into what is our actual season and now kind of going into postseason, we've just spent a lot of time with our team that's kind of smaller, just really bonding and getting that close connection. And I think you can see that connection translate into the pool. A lot of our players know each other from prior teams or have just blended really well together coming into the team. So it's been nice to see that connection translate. And, I'm kind of hoping that we'll see that moving forward into these next couple games.
How do you feel like you've been able to, as a team, get that bond with each other? Because, of course, college athletics, you have turnover every single year, whether it's transfers, whether it's graduation, new student athletes coming in. How quickly did this team bond, and how has that helped you kind of throughout the season?
I think, honestly, it was kind of right off the bat. When you have a team that's so small, we have 14 girls. Not to say that there's not really another option, but we're all around each other all the time. And then we have a lot of team bonding activities that we'll do. And so I think you kind of see those things come into play. And our girls this year, especially just as people, are really supportive and they've been really cohesive. And I think it's been nice to see just some of their personalities shine as we've all gotten comfortable with each other.
So championship weekend, both of you know this very well. This is the off year, if you will, where the championships aren't in California, so at least you don't have to worry about the crazy travel. But Jade, from your past experience in championships, it's always an exciting weekend when you get down to the end of the season and you know that this is the moment, right? What has the last kind of few championship weekends been like for you, and kind of what separates this weekend from the rest of the weeks in the regular season?
In the past, I mean, it's really fun to see finally the West Coast teams for the first time and have that good competition there. Unfortunately, in the past, we've fallen a little bit short at championships, but this year feels a little bit different. I feel that we definitely have the potential to be that underdog team coming in for this weekend, and the competition seems as equal as I think it's ever been these past 4 years here at Gannon, so it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, Gannon getting the 2 seed out of the East this year, and what will be an exciting game Friday at 1 o'clock. You have some history with Fresno Pacific. You played them last year, really went down to the wire. You lost in what was almost a last-second goal. I know it's a different team that they'll have this year, but what are some of the things that you can learn from last year's game that you think might help you coming around this year on Friday?
Yeah, I think that compared to last year's team, this team has a lot of composure and a lot of motivation to just get back and have some revenge from last year. And there's also a good amount of younger girls that are very big contributors on this team. So I'm really excited to go back and get a win.
We were talking off camera before we started this interview that, Division II women's water polo, the teams are starting to dwindle a little bit. And I think that creates a bit of intimacy with the teams that we will see in this tournament, right? You're obviously playing a team from the West. You haven't seen them yet this season, Molly. But, if you are able to get that victory on Friday in advance, you're going to potentially be seeing a team like McKendree or others that you've seen. What is it like when you have to play teams so many times during the season? This time of year, there's, I guess, really nothing you can throw at them. How do you keep composure in that situation and try to, still come out on top despite the fact that you've played these teams so many times?
I think that's definitely one of the biggest challenges of having such a small conference, especially now that we've lost some teams. But I think there's also some benefit to be had that we are familiar with them. So despite how strategies might have changed between Game 1 and Game 2 from playing teams like McKendree and Salem, we have become more familiar with how they re-strategize. And so you can kind of think preemptively about the ways that they might change or adjust, knowing their players and knowing their dynamic, to then kind of take our team and say, okay, well, how can we combat that with what we have? And then it's kind of just a lot of back and forth of, okay, they'll change strategy and then we'll change strategy, and then it'll be down to the wire, but I'm hoping that at the end of the day we'll come out on top.
A lot of X's and O's, whiteboards, digital chalkboards, whatever you draw on nowadays, probably likely filled up. This is going to be an exciting weekend, and we saw, of course, we were there on Senior Day at the Erie Classic when you both and others were recognized for their years of hard work with the program. You still, though, have a relatively young team, as Molly and you, Jade, were talking about, in the fact that there will be some that are participating in these championships for the first time or the second time and don't have that experience. What message would you give to them ahead of this weekend to try to keep them calm and in their element heading into your game on Friday?
Honestly, just to keep focused, keep locked in, but also remember that this is the last opportunity we're going to have to play with these girls as this team. And just have fun, enjoy it while we can, and make the best of it.
I was going to say, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you both about your timeline and your career again, and of course, both of you going on to exciting pastures after this season. But in terms of your playing career, let's start with you on this, Jade. The gratification of the experience that you've had here again, and what has this program meant to you and the excitement that you've had getting to play for this team?
This team means everything to me. I mean, coming from California, there's not really a lot of people I know on this side of the world even. So making those friends and even family friends later on, I know that I'm going to have these girls for like the rest of my life. So it really means the world to me. They've become my family.
I ask people from Florida, California, Texas this question who come to Erie, PA. Have you gotten adjusted to the snow yet? You can be honest and tell me no.
No, I never did. I never got adjusted to it. I always had to layer like 10 things in order to stay warm, and I ended up looking like a homeless person going to class. So
What was this? The last 2 winters weren't that bad. What was this winter like? Like we had like the snowstorm and Thanksgiving. Was that like a shock and awe moment? When you woke up that morning, wherever it was, like what was your initial reaction to the snowstorm?
I was stranded alone at our college home over Thanksgiving, so it definitely was like, it felt like COVID again, like because I couldn't go anywhere. I didn't have a car. It was like it was freezing. I didn't want to go outside, so it was just me and our roommate's cat chilling for this like Thanksgiving. It was definitely something that I'm not used to and not willing to do again.
It's amazing that, most of the year you get into a pool, and a pool's normally cold. I mean, you two know it better than I, but I get into a pool normally and it's freezing and whatnot. The winter's the one time where you're okay with getting into a pool and getting into, a poolside deck, which is normally a lot warmer. But Molly, I'll go to you on this too, and the experience you've had. You, of course, sung the praises of so many of your fellow student athletes in your time here. What's this program meant to you, and what will it mean to get to be in the pool one final time this week?
I think this program has been really special to me, especially being an Erie native. I've seen this team before I was on it, and I'll probably see it after. But it's meant a lot to me to be a part of it through the whole process. And then I think, especially in the ways that I've been able to grow as like a person and a leader, and just a lot of the skills that I've learned about life in general and the lessons I've gained from this experience, I'll take with me for a really long time.
Whether it's individuals who are on the women's water polo team or our teams generically around Gannon University, what's the key to success in terms of balancing the student and the athlete part? Because, of course, you're getting ready for finals week, but you're going to be in the pool, you're going to be practicing, you're going to be playing these games. What's the key to balance, and that piece of advice that maybe you would have for a fellow student athlete who's really dipping their toe in the water for the first time?
There's definitely a lot that goes into it. I think Gannon in particular is really good about communication with professors. I know I relied heavily on that in terms of rescheduling things and getting stuff set for when we do travel. The nice thing about water polo is we travel on the weekends, so we're not missing like a random Tuesday, but we'll miss like a Friday into a weekend. But on top of that, I think it's really, ironically enough, keeping a balance between making sure you focus on your academics and athletics, but making sure that you also take time for yourself, because there's only so much that you can pour into one thing versus another. And if you try to just put every ounce of every day into either your schoolwork or like your sport, you're going to burn out. So I think keeping the balance of making sure you stay on top of your schoolwork because it has to get done, and then making sure you're present at practice, take that as like a break from your academics, and then with whatever time is left, just making sure you have time to reset and kind of regroup.
So a couple of days, as of this recording, a couple of days, when we have it on the podcast on Thursday, you'll already be in Morgantown and ready to go for Friday. But Jade, what's going to be the key this weekend if this team is going to go where they ultimately want to go and playing for championship at the end of the weekend?
Honestly, just remembering that this whole season we've been working towards this. These are the most important games of the season. Some of these girls, it's the last games that they'll ever play. So honestly, just keeping focused, keeping locked in, and just enjoying it.
Enjoying it is certainly what they will do. And again, Fresno Pacific, the opponent coming up on Friday afternoon. Gannon looking to move to the WWPA semifinals. Will be an exciting tournament from Morgantown, West Virginia. And again, in case you missed it, congratulations once again to Jade Strickland and Molly Fair. Strickland receiving first team all-conference honors as well as all defensive team conference honors, and Molly Fair the honorable mention note when it comes to the WWPA all-conference honors. All right, that's one of 3 teams in postseason this week. We're going to hear from women's golf in just a couple of minutes. But first, let's go ahead and talk about what's on tap for this weekend, because we got a lot of things going on, including Day of Giving. All right, here is what is on tap for Gannon Athletics on this weekend, what will be the final weekend of the month of April, and that means that spring sports playoffs are either beginning or they're getting down to the wire in the regular season, and that's what's happening with the baseball team. They are on the road at Lock Haven starting tomorrow, and then on Saturday, it is senior day for DJ Cannon's baseball squad. 6 members of the Golden Knights team will be recognized as they take on Lock Haven. Now, as it stands right now, the Golden Knights are just 3 games back of IUP for the final spot in the PSAC baseball playoff chase. What that means is that if the Golden Knights can take care of business this weekend, who do they play for their last 4 games of the season? None other than the Crimson Hawks. So this team's still very much alive as they try to contend for a spot in the PSAC tournament. So make sure to join us out on Senior Day. The weather has been beautiful. No excuse on Saturday to get out to McConnell Family Stadium. Softball and women's lacrosse on the road this weekend as well. Women's lacrosse actually in action at home right now in their home finale against the Edinburgh Fighting Scots. We'll try to get you some score updates on that as we learn more throughout this show. Softball just picked up a win over Slippery Rock today in what was the conclusion of a suspended game in the rain. That game actually had really big proportions, and we'll explain why in just a moment here. But softball on the road on Friday, women's lacrosse on the road on Saturday. And as we've been talking about, playoffs begin. Women's water polo, WWPA championships in Morgantown, West Virginia, Friday through Sunday. Women's golf also going to be at PSAC championships in Kutztown, PA, Friday through Sunday, as the Golden Knights are looking for their 6th consecutive PSAC team title. That would just be an absurd number added on to if Dee Peterson and the Golden Knights can get that done this weekend. Then, of course, as we've been talking about as well, acrobatics and tumbling, they are heading to the individual event national championships at the NCATA National Championships in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. They'll participate in the synchronized toss event. Brady Duren's squad looking to win that individual event again at NCATA championships. All right, was talking about why this win for softball today was such a big win. That's because they've now officially clinched for the 15th consecutive year. Gannon softball has found a spot in the PSAC tournament. You look at all the star players and student athletes from that team that have been able to, again, just be a moniker of consistency. Michelle Wiley's had a great season. She picked up her 150th career coaching win earlier in the season. Now the Golden Knights are dancing in the PSAC tournament, so they will conclude their season this weekend at Clarion and then get set for the playoffs, which take part next week. So congratulations to softball for earning a spot yet again in the PSAC tournament. We can't wait to see what Michelle Wiley's squad does as we roll along throughout the postseason. All right, couple of other notes to get to before we get to our interview with women's golf. Of course, as we've been talking about, Day of Giving coming up at 8 o'clock. We're T-minus an hour and 37 minutes away from our 24 hours and Centennial Celebrate Day of Giving. In the top right corner, that QR code is how you can get involved. Scan the QR code. It'll take you to everything you need to know for our Centennial Celebrate Day of Giving, which goes live officially in an hour and 36 minutes. More from teams that would really love your support and could use your support to be able to further their academic and athletic greatness. Take a look more from our Day of Giving.
Getting basketball is like a second family to me. Obviously, like when we're all away from home, this is our family. This is who we spend most time with. You know, these girls are like 14 built-in sisters, and they teach me hard work, discipline, and yeah, like Bruce said, just good life lessons, things that we can take. Especially being from Erie, I think the support means a lot. To see the community come out to our games, and support us in every way that they do. We've had a lot of good crowds, especially in the Atlantic region. That was awesome to have. When we play for ourselves, we also play for our community. So every time they come out and support us, it makes us want to work harder so we can make them proud.
It's been really nice to come into college and have almost immediate friends and have this community and have these group of girls that really push me to be the best that I can be and to be a good person both in school and on the wrestling mat and in interpersonal relationships. Culture that has already been set on these mats and in this room has just made this experience and the energy in this room just so much better and so much more impactful.
Day of Giving officially begins at 8 p.m. this evening, and as we have mentioned earlier in the show, and we'll continue to mention, our show this evening goes all the way from 6 to 8 p.m. tonight, with the 7 o'clock hour coming with interviews from so many former student athletes and alumni who continue to be a part of Gannon Athletics and are sharing their stories and experience for Day of Giving. So stay tuned for that. We are on the air all the way tonight until 8 p.m. The weather is beautiful, and it gets you all the way up to the NFL draft as well. All right, postseason continues. Now we head to women's golf, and a team that has just completely dominated the PSAC championship field for the last 5 years. Dee Peterson and the women's golf team have won 5 straight PSAC championships. They're looking to make it a half a dozen this weekend when they head to Berkeley Golf Club in Kutztown, PA starting tomorrow for the PSAC Championships. And Didi there in the middle is looking to win her third consecutive individual championship as the Golden Knight women's golf team continues their stretch of dominance in the conference. Earlier this afternoon, had a chance to talk with senior Didi Peterson and Alex LaCroix, talking about what's the excitement for them coming up this weekend and the keys to success in what will be another run, we hope memorable run in the PSAC Championships.
Golf season never sleeps, and with the weather finally a little bit warmer, we caveat with a little bit because it's eerie, you never know. Women's golf getting set for the PSAC Championships in Kutztown this weekend. Alex LaCroix and Didi Peterson joining us ahead of what's going to be a tournament in which this team hopes to win their 6th consecutive PSAC team championship. We'll start with kind of reminiscing on the past, Didi. You're coming in, of course, individually. You've won back-to-back titles. This team has won 5 straight. Take me through the success of this team, kind of through your lens, and how you've been able to be so consistent year in, year out.
Well, this team, when it comes to PSACs, I think we kind of just build on like the previous years, so we kind of see the previous year as like a benchmark, and we're like, okay, we have to keep going forward because we've been so successful the last 2 years, so we don't want to lose that track record. But this team does build very hard up to like PSACs and understanding like this is like serious, and like even though we have had great success the past few years, we still have to work to continue having that success.
Obviously, like you said, golf is a year-round sport. I mean, you still practice indoors in the winter, but Alex, when you look at the way that this team has been able to be so successful over the last few years with your consistency with championships, what does that take in terms of preparation, in terms of understanding kind of how you pace yourself to get to this point? What has that been like the last few seasons, and how this team has been able to manage that so well, with the expectations that you have now?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have a target on our back, winning 5 in a row. And we come into a lot of tournaments knowing that we are one of the top teams there. So we definitely have a lot of pressure on us, and then we take that into practice. But it also takes a lot of teamwork, too. Like, we were very connected as a team. So we know that whatever putt we make for a birdie or for a par is going to go to the good of the group. So it really matters a lot to us as a team how we do, and it kind of motivates us a lot more to do good.
Let's talk about the season thus far. Of course, as we know, you separated into the fall and into the spring, and you're in the midst of that right now. We'll start with you, Alex, on this. Some of the tournaments you've had great success in, of course, some great individual accolades as well. You keep climbing your way up the leaderboard with some of the really great Atlantic and East teams that we've seen all season long. What do you like about the team's game, and what are some of the things that you think you can take into this weekend based on what you've been able to do so far this year?
I think we're really good at making pars and playing like consistent. I guess it's called boring golf most of the time because
hold on a second. Boring golf being all pars. Now, for members of the team, that seems whatever, boring pars. I have to say, Alex, if people like myself and other people watching this made consistent pars, it wouldn't be boring golf. But I just wanted to let you know.
It's quite relaxing. It's a good thing. It's boring because you're not making putts. A lot of the time when you're making pars, you're hitting the greens a lot. Mm-hmm. Your irons are good. But then you're just missing putts a little short side or just the pace isn't right. So you'll take the 2-putt pars any day, but, I mean, sometimes you just want them to drop.
I'm all for it. Look, pars are fine with me. Didi, when you look at this weekend in particular, the nice thing is you have a lot of student athletes on this team that are experienced and have been in this situation before at PSAC Championships. How valuable is that experience to know the course you're playing? Of course, Kutztown has hosted the championships for the last few seasons now. How much is that valuable to you and the team, the fact that you kind of know where you're playing, you've been there before, and it's nothing new to you?
I would say it's very valuable. Like, we know the course now because we've played there the last 3 years. So we know where to go, where to hit it, where to go for it and when to just go for the par. It's like that's a great advantage that we have. And as you said, we have players right now going to the PSACs who are very experienced in how the tournament goes as well. So it's just we know that it's serious and we know now it's time to show, but it comes with that great advantage of we know where to go and we know exactly how the layout is, and it's a great advantage, I would say.
I'm going to ask you, Didi, of course, individually you've captured the last few championships, and it's so fascinating in college golf finding the balance between being aggressive, but also playing your game and not trying to overhit the ball or being too overzealous with shots. How have you been able to find that balance? What's the key to trying to figure out the line between going for it, but also playing your game and realizing that you got more than just 2 or 3 holes to play every day? Recipe for success at all that you've been able to find?
One thing when it comes to like the term of going for it, I don't know if that's exactly what you meant, but one thing I've come to realize is that your individual success, like you going for the great scores, will only help the team. So like I really think it's also important to understand that you can focus on your game, because you know if you focus on it and do great, it's gonna help everyone. And when it comes to like going for it, I would say if we're talking strictly golf-wise, knowing when you have the room to either do great or now it's time to like take the boring pars, as Alex says, just like try to get back on track. But yeah, I will say in college golf, like the whole thing, like of course you need to play for the team and understand, okay, if there's a lot of if it's really close in the team, you have to try to make your par, you have to go for it. But your individual success, like you playing good, will only help the team.
And this team's known it now for 5 consecutive seasons, hopefully 6 by the end of this weekend. When you go into a weekend like this, Alex, it helps to have a team that, again, has been there before, has done that before, like we were just talking with Dee Dee, but you're all really close, too. You can really tell that just from a team perspective and a bonding perspective and understanding each other perspective, you're more powerful than a lot of other teams out there just with the connections that you have. How important is that relationship with your teammates going into this weekend, especially when you get down to the final day, say things are a little bit tense, and just knowing that, you know, in other words, they have your back?
Yeah, I think it's really important. I'd say as a group, we kind of have a family like bond. We trust each other a lot. I know that there's a girl on our team, Chloe. I know that if I'm making possibly a bogey on this hole, I know she's got the par. I know that Dee Dee's got the birdie on that one par 5, or I don't know. You just trust them a lot, and you trust that they're gonna help you just as much as you're gonna help them with the team aspect. I haven't seen the course yet. I'm a freshman. This is my first year, so I think I'm a little more nervous than a couple of the other girls. But I think, you know, when we go through and we put the practice around and we take good notes, I know that we know exactly how to play the course, even if we've never seen it before. So it's a really good bond that we all have.
For you as a freshman to this team, what are some of the things that you've learned and soaked in from the team leaders, whether it's Dee Dee or others, some of the things they've told you that can kind of help you get ready for a weekend like this?
Yeah, I mean, we've played a lot of 54-hole tournaments. Most of them are 36 one day and then 18 the next. So 3 straight days is a lot of mental strain compared to, 36 straight is a lot, but it's only 24 hours of golf, or like 2 days, I guess. Anyways, but it's a lot. Like I've learned a lot from Dee Dee and then our other senior, Andrea, just about a lot of mental things going into tournaments. You know, when we're playing on the second day with the team that we're tied for first with or something, just, you know, learning how to handle the mental toughness that you need to do to get through, and just understanding that your game is all that matters, and if you keep making pars or make a birdie or whatever, then they might eventually crack, so you just have to stay strong and stay trusting in yourself.
A lot of excitement for this weekend and, of course, all season long, Dee Dee, but we know you don't want the season to come to an end at the end of this weekend when you look ahead to the regional potential for national championships. From your experience, what are going to be some of the things needed for this team to be able to reach those heights and those goals, some of which you've been able to reach in the past?
For sure, first, like, do our best in the PSACs and hopefully take down the win again. And I think if we do really strong in the PSAC championship, there's going to be like a certain confidence that we can bring us to the regional championship. And I think that's what's needed, like the confidence and knowing that we can play really well. Like we can. This team is really talented. So it's about showing up to regionals and just showing the others who Gannon is, like what our top game is, and give our fight, and hopefully we'll make it to nationals. But it has to be 3 days of consecutive fight. Like we have to keep playing good in order to make it, and hopefully we make it.
Excitement certainly surrounding the women's golf team. Of course, the men's golf team ready to host the Atlantic Regional coming up in a couple of weeks. And on the women's side, looking to head back more to the Atlantic region and do so with a successful run in the PSAC championships. Again, that happening at Berkeley Golf Club starting tomorrow in Kutztown, Pennsylvania. Welcome back in, everyone, to the United Podcast, brought to you by our friends at the UPick6 Tap House. We're here right now, almost all night, it seems, here until 8 o'clock for our extended episode with Day of Giving, happening from 7 to 8 p.m. Of course, Day of Giving starting tonight at 8 o'clock. All the information that you need to be able to give back, to donate, whatever you might be able to do, can be found on this QR code here in the top right-hand corner. Go ahead and scan it and get all the information that you need to know for our Centennial Celebrate Day of Giving. If you missed it earlier, our dish of the day here at the UPick6 Tap House is the Buffalo Chicken Pizza, a dish that you can get for $2 off from now until 10 o'clock at the Tap House. Come on down. It is a beautiful night outside, hustling and bustling in downtown Erie on the corner of 4th and State. We'd love to be able to see you here until 8 o'clock. Even if you join after, make sure to get some of the great food and drink on site at the UPick6 Tap House. All right, as we continue along in our efforts for Day of Giving, we want to showcase a couple other teams that are extremely excited for this day and are ready to hear what you have to say for the importance of the programs that they take part in. Let's hear first from both women's soccer and baseball ahead of Day of Giving.
The last 3 years here at Ghana have been amazing for me. As being an international student, I also grew up as a person. I learned a lot about the culture here in the United States, and especially since I'm in the women's soccer team, my teammates have helped me a lot in the last 3 years. And I love the way that all my teammates try to support us, especially at practice.
For the past few years, our team has gotten continuously better with, breaking records, going further NCAA tournament, and we've been able to do that because of the community support, whether it's from the administration here at Gannon or the donors in the community, and just having our fans from around the community as well helping support us. It's helped us become even better and push us further as a team.
The Gannon baseball program has given me so much opportunity to get out here and be a student athlete and really showcase my skills, as well as have a great time in the classroom and have a lot of support behind me from both coaches and awesome teammates.
You'll see it all the time here when we come out for the games, the people that come around here in the community, not just on the field to support us, but just helping us with our Day of Giving. It is a tremendous help to all of us.
Day of Giving, T-minus 1 hour and 22 minutes away from tonight at 8 p.m. to tomorrow night at 8 p.m. And if you want to get involved, again, that QR code in the top right corner is where you can go to get involved for Day of Giving. We're going to get to a modified version of our top 5 plays in just a moment. Before we get to that, do want to make a couple of exciting announcement mentions for some of our student athletes from earlier this week. Want to give a congratulations to Julian Sullivan from Competitive Cheer and Dance and Ryan Barkley from Men's Swimming, who just this week were announced as the Doc Beyer Award recipients. Sullivan and Barkley displaying exemplary leadership both on and off the field of competition, as well as community service and team-oriented success. Again, congratulations to both Sullivan and Barkley for receiving our Doc Beyer Award recipients. Want to make a mention, in case you missed it earlier, Baseball Senior Day coming up Saturday at 1 o'clock and 3:30, a doubleheader at McConnell Family Stadium. DJ Cannon's team still firmly in the mix for a spot in the PSAC tournament. You can follow those games on our website, GannonSports.com, or as we would like you to be able to do, because it's been wonderful outside weather-wise, you can come to McConnell Family Stadium starting at 1 o'clock. Also want to mention, if you don't want to make the trip for away games, you can watch every single Gannon away event right here at the UPick6 Tap House, streaming every Gannon away event live and in person as we continue along throughout the season. Also, speaking of baseball, want to congratulate a baseball player and a softball student athlete for being named our Gannon Student Athletes of the Week. Alex Bemis with a successful week on the diamond for baseball, and Abby Gurman continues her senior season in what has been a wonderful month of April for her. She continues what again, has been a great career and a month with a Student Athlete of the Week here on Gannon Athletics campus. Those honorees going to Alex Bemis and Abby Gurman. All right, typically at this point in the show, it's where we reveal our top 5 plays of the week. And there are plenty of plays this week that are worthy of a top 5 list. But because we have Gannon Student Athletes end of the year celebration coming up on Tuesday the 29th, we thought it would be important to show you our nominations for the 2024-2025 Gannon Athletics Play of the Year. There are 6 nominations. The videos have been circulating on social media. We've been posting 1 play per day in advance of the end of the year celebration, and your vote is going to help determine which play ends up the winner of our Play of the Year. So let's show you the nominations and show you what plays made the list for our nominees for the 2024-2025 Gannon Athletics Play of the Year.
The nominations for the 2024-2025 Gannon Play of the Year.
All right, so we will start with our first play of the year of nominations. How about this goal from Paige Taylor? With 28 seconds to go in the regional semifinal, she boots one from more than 20 yards out into the top left corner of the net to send Gannon to the regional final. You want to talk about a buzzer beater? Paige Taylor did just that. What a goal and what an atmosphere and what a night for the Golden Knight women's soccer team. That's our first nominee for the 2024-25 Play of the Year. Here's number 2, Gannon Edinburgh football, late fourth quarter, Golden Knights down, needing a touchdown, and how about this catch from Tank Mason? Following a bad snap with under a minute to go, the quarterback stumbling, bumbling, rolling around on his feet, but Gannon keeps the play alive, and Tank Mason, who wasn't open right there, see ya in the bottom right corner, he just sprints past the defender, gets open, and makes a 46-yard catch. That would lead to a Gannon touchdown and what would be a rivalry victory over the Edinburgh Fighting Scots. Here's our third nomination for Play of the Year, and it comes in the driving rain. Ian Soto, see you later, says Ian. A splendid 3-run home run to walk off Slippery Rock in what was a miserable day weather-wise. But Ian brought the sunshine out in all Gannon baseball players' hearts. He's our third nomination for Play of the Year. Here's number 4. Don't call this an upset. Jerry Echeverria, who ended up with All-American status for the Golden Knights thanks to great opportunities like these. Gets the late takedown of the second-ranked student-athlete in his weight class to end up with what many thought was an upset victory, but we know how good Jerry is, and he earns our nomination for Play of the Year. Here's another one. How about Emma O'Gorman? In case you missed how this goal happened, take a look. Whoop, behind the back, into the back of the cage in the game against Salem. O'Gorman with a wonderful goal, and she earns a nomination for Play of the Year. Couple more left in our Gannon Athletics Play of the Year. Here's Nyla Burgess, what we like to call a pancake hip toss that leads to this, a pin for Burgess in the second round of Nationals, part of what was a great run for Nyla and a 4th place All-American finish in said national championships. That is not easy to do, folks, especially against that level of competition. Nyla had a great year. That was one of her many highlights and well-deserving as a nomination for our Gannon Athletics Play of the Year. So those are the 6 nominees for 2024-2025 Play of the Year. If you'd like to vote, it's very simple. You can go to our YouTube page, search for our Play of the Year nomination video, and comment which play you think is deserving of that number 1 spot. Or you can head over to our social media channels on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and you can like and comment on the plays that we are posting every single day. Again, we're posting 1 to 2 plays per day ahead of our end of the year celebration on Tuesday evening. So make sure to vote, make sure to comment and like, and you will help us decide which play deserves that number 1 spot for the 2024-2025 Gannon Athletics Play of the Year. All right, as we continue along on our show tonight, again, a reminder of what's on tap here ahead of this weekend. In addition to Day of Giving, lots of events happening both on and off the Gannon University campus. Baseball, Senior Day against Lockhaven. The next 4 games for the Golden Knights going to be extremely crucial for DJ Cannon's team. So come out and support the team on Saturday afternoon against Lockhaven. It'll be a 1 and 3:30 p.m. first pitch doubleheader and double as Senior Day for the Golden Knights. Softball back on the road on Friday to conclude their regular season, as will women's lacrosse be on Saturday. Women's golf, as we mentioned, at Berkeley Country Club in Kutztown, PA for the PSAC Championships, trying to win a 6th consecutive PSAC team crown. Women's water polo will be down in Morgantown, West Virginia, starting tomorrow through the weekend as they get set for WWPA Championships. Their first game happening tomorrow at 1 o'clock as they get ready to take on Fresno Pacific in their first game of the postseason. Then acrobatics and tumbling. Best of luck to Brandy Duren's squad, who will head to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and punch their ticket for the synchronized toss event in the NCATA Individual Event National Championships. Gannon has dominated this event in the last 2 years. They'll head to the Elman Center in Sioux Falls, South Dakota to try and win another Individual Event National Championship. That happening on Sunday. Best of luck to that squad in the synchronized toss event as, again, they look to continue their success in the final year of head coach Brandy Duran. All right, we are inching closer to our Day of Giving extended episode. Again, our podcast happening until 8 o'clock tonight. But we also want to let you know, too, in addition to what we're doing tonight on the podcast, there is a lot more happening starting tomorrow morning. In case you missed it, Gannon Athletics will be doing an all-day live stream for our Day of Giving celebration starting tomorrow at 8 a.m. and going all the way until 8 p.m. Gannon Athletics will have a live stream for Day of Giving. This is going to be an extravaganza unlike any other, folks. We're going to have live interviews with every single one of our athletic teams, coaches, student athletes, administration. Dr. Iwanenko, university president, will be on hand for this Centennial Celebrate Day of Giving live stream, and then a lot of fun stuff along the way. We're going to have pie in the face when teams meet their goal. We're going to have some trivia questions. We're going to have some fast facts and fun facts for Gannon Athletics. We're going to have a lot of laughs along the way, too, as well. So tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., you can take part in our Day of Giving live stream, streaming live on all of our social media channels as well as YouTube. So wherever you go to watch the podcast, you can go to watch our Day of Giving live stream from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Yes, it is an all-day affair, folks, because our Day of Giving continues through 8 o'clock tomorrow night, and we hope you'll join us for that live stream starting bright and early tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, right before you start your work day. All right, we're getting ready again for the back half of our episode. We've got 3 live guests to join us in just a few minutes, but before we get to that, let's hear from a couple of other teams, and we'll start with our athletic administration team, a team that is also excited for Day of Giving as well. Athletics' greatest needs include opportunities to continue to upgrade our facilities, opportunities for several events on campus, and more. Our athletic director, Lisa Goddard-McGurk, taking us through exactly what the key will be for Athletics' greatest needs on Day of Giving and how you can support our mission to advance student-athletes' experience on campus.
Knight Nation family, this is Lisa Goddard-McGurk, the Director of Athletics here at Gannon University. On this Day of Giving, I want to encourage you to donate to Athletics' greatest needs. When you support Athletics' greatest needs, you are supporting vital initiatives and services for our nearly 700 student-athletes. This includes high-quality facilities, providing an awesome game day environment, health care for all of our student athletes, life skills programming, the end of the year Student Athlete Award celebration that recognizes the many accomplishments of our amazing student athletes, initiatives around Chi Alpha Sigma, the National Collegiate Student Athlete Honor Society. The list is endless. Please consider giving to Athletics' greatest needs. Together, we will continue to provide a transformational student-athlete experience. Go Knights!
We love Erie, and we love the community, the way they come out and support us in games, and how they support us financially with their donations and their gifts to our program. It helps make our program what it is, and we appreciate not just the cheers, but we also appreciate the commitment of people giving money to our program, and we don't take that for granted. This year with Day of Giving, we have matching gifts from Cal Graham and from Kelsey McCoy. Cal Graham is a basketball alum, Kelsey McCoy is a women's basketball alum. That's up to $3,000. So if we can get other gifts up to $3,000, that's going to double to $6,000. And we would be so appreciative of that. And we're just excited. We're excited about Day of Giving and seeing the support that's going to be out there for Gannon Athletics and Gannon Women's Basketball. And then we're super excited about the coming summer and the coming year. So I just encourage you to support Gannon. You're valuable.
That is the theme that rings true for so many people who are associated with Gannon Athletics. You are all valuable, and you all mean so much to us, whether you're an alumni, whether you're a former student athlete, whether you're a community member, or if you've just been living close to Gannon University your entire life and you love the Erie area. Day of Giving is a day for all of us, a day filled with community, a day filled with passion, and one that can be used so far in the future to help advance our mission with both Gannon Athletics and Gannon University. That's why we're so excited about this day. Because, yes, it's a 24-hour endeavor. It's a lot that goes into it, but it's deserved because these student athletes do so much to help our university and make everything as good as it possibly can be. And their experience is first on our list of priorities every single day at Gannon Athletics. So as we roll along here in the next 25 hours or so, we've got a lot of content to get to. Of course, make sure to stay tuned. We're going to take a short break and be back right at the top of the hour at 7 o'clock to get set for our back half of an extended podcast episode with 3 live guests, former alumni and student athletes who are excited to talk about Day of Giving coming up starting in about an hour and 10 minutes. That episode is at 7 o'clock. Then, of course, make sure to join us for our Day of Giving live stream happening tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. all day long. Student-athlete discussions, excitement from coaches. We've got some trivia. We've got some fast facts. We've got pie in the face for teams that reach their goal in the athletic department. There's just so much happening with the live stream tomorrow. We'll have a lot of fun with it. We hope you will too. And join us again on all of our social media platforms, as well as our YouTube channel from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. with limited commercial interruption for our Day of Giving live stream of our Centennial Celebrate Day of Giving. All right, we're going to leave you for the next few minutes, take a short break, and get ready for the back half of our episode. But make sure to join us. Julie Kleber, former women's basketball alum. Mel Witherspoon, the former great in men's basketball. And we'll also have Shelby Malone from acrobatics and tumbling, a former student athlete and assistant coach, who will join us in the 7 o'clock hour. So a lot more excitement to come. We'll leave you with some highlights from the week that was, and join us back in about 8 minutes time as we get ready for the back half of our exciting double episode tonight at the U Pick 6 Tap House. Stay tuned. we are back after just a very short break for what is going to be hour number 2 of our extended United podcast tonight here back inside the UPick6 Tap House. Welcome back in, everybody. I'm Isaac Petcash. In case you missed the first part of our episode, you can go back later tonight and watch that. Had a great couple of conversations with women's golf and women's water polo ahead of their postseason bouts coming up this weekend. And, of course, acrobatics and tumbling at the NCATA National Championships this weekend as well. We are live streaming live of the UPick6 Tap House, and we're continuing this hour from 7 to 8 p.m. as a special episode because, as many of you know by now, and if you don't, we're going to remind you a few times tonight, tomorrow, and all day, and starting tonight at 8 o'clock, we are 59 minutes away from our Centennial Celebrate Day of Giving, a day, of course, that will benefit Gannon Athletics, Gannon University. It is a community-wide opportunity to have just such a great impact for our student athletes and so many others who have been a part and are currently a part of the athletic and university program. So as we go throughout this entire hour, we're going to be having some live interviews with former alumni and former great student athletes who were part of this program and who are still dedicated to this day to Gannon University and Gannon Athletics, because again, we mean it in all sincerity. When you are here, you are family and you're family for life. So we're going to get to those interviews in just a couple of minutes. Do want to mention as well that once our episode ends tonight, the excitement doesn't end, because starting tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., yes, folks, 12 hours, we will have a live stream for our Centennial Celebrate Day of Giving in the Gannon Rec Center Fieldhouse. All of our athletic programs, student athletes, coaches, pie in the face, trivia, so much more. Such an exciting day. This is going to be a lot of fun. So make sure to stay tuned to our social media channels and our YouTube channel for the live stream throughout the entire day. It is our Gannon Day of Giving live stream. If you want more information on how you can get involved, make sure to check out that QR code in the top right corner of your screen. We'll be having it up the entire show, and you can just make sure to check into that, and it'll let you know exactly how you can get involved with Day of Giving. And at the end of this episode at 8 o'clock, when we officially launch our 24-hour campaign, we'll give you an update as to where we're at right now when it comes to our Centennial Celebrate Day of Giving. All right, so many guests to get to it. We want to start with an individual who was part of so many incredible women's basketball teams, including that legendary team in 2009-2010, who went 37-1 and went all the way in the went nearly all the way in the national tournament. She's a 2011 graduate and just so many career accolades, both academically and athletically, on her resume. And she's got the Golden Knight hat on for us as well. Of course, Julie Klaber joining us on the program tonight. Julie, thanks so much for joining us. I'll tell you what, this is an exciting day for us, but for you as well. You know, I can only imagine how many Gannon shirts you still have in your closet. And, you know, I think you can speak to the term that when you're a graduate and when you're at Gannon, you're family forever. And we appreciate you taking a few minutes with us here.
Absolutely. Yes, that was a great intro. And I have still not watched that last championship game, and I keep saying I'm going to watch it, and I have yet to watch it.
I'm sure they have it on file somewhere.
I have the DVD of it. Yeah. I just haven't. I don't have the. I think I'm just going to cry too much.
Yeah, no, you know, it's amazing as a student athlete, and even, you know, as a graduate, the 37 games that you had, all that success in, you know, wonderful. It's that last one, of course, that may be difficult to watch. But, you know, we're going to talk about Day of Giving and, of course, your career at Gannon and what it meant to you. Of course, you had so many athletic and academic accolades, but just take me through, you know, you have had an opportunity to build a great career for yourself following university, and, you know, lots of the people that we'll have on tonight are several years removed from being a student athlete and from graduating. What brings you back? What makes you want to stay committed and stay involved with this program, even though so many of us have now been out for so many years?
Sure, it's a great question. I think it was such a huge part of, it was so foundational for me as a young adult. The relationships I built at college, I still keep in touch with some of my old professors, nursing professors, psychology professors, of course, the women's basketball program, but also the athletic department. You know, that's the beauty of Gannon. It's a small community feel. It was then, and I do believe it still exists now. And a lot of the same faces that are still at Gannon were there when I was there. So I think it's that familiar camaraderie that always keeps me going back, and really love enjoying going back.
Julie, when you reminisce and remember back on your student athlete career, so many of the people who are here now have great stories as to, the expectation that I had when I started at Gannon was, okay, I had an expectation here, and by the time I was done, it had risen to such a level that I never really expected. Can you take me back to when you first stepped on the floor in your first year, your first practice, and kind of what the nerves were and the expectations were then, and take me through the day you graduated and just what the Gannon experience meant to you throughout your years on campus and kind of how that evolved just from your point of view?
I can't even remember the first time I stepped up. We were on that court so much that I'm like, I don't remember the first time. I just remember for the most part, I think every time, even up until the last time I stepped, even when I still step on that court, I haven't been to the new gym yet. I'm very excited to go shortly the next couple of months. But even when it's just like this butterfly feeling of just anticipation, wanting to work hard, teammate. It's something about like the smell of that floor too. You get a ball in your hand, you just start walking over those planks, and it does something very viscerally for me. That sometimes I'll go back to those moments of, a couple of my teammates and I refer to a lot of life things and sports analogies. It just makes it more tangible for us. And I'll often go back to, okay, remember that practice when we did this? That's how this translates to my life now. So I always think that those sports analogies are really palpable for us. And I think those nerves were there then, and I can still feel them now as I'm thinking about entering that gym, and just that excitement, trepidation, kind of every feeling was coursing through me.
Julie Kleber joining us, former women's basketball alum and a 2011 graduate, joining us on the United podcast ahead of Day of Giving. You made a really interesting point just a moment ago in what you talked about your play on the court and your knowledge on the court translated to your knowledge and success off the floor as well. And so many people talk about it, right? The student athlete experience. But I'm just curious if you wouldn't mind just giving us an idea of some of those examples of how the teachings from Coach Wright and the other student athletes that you played with, how that helped to impact your life following graduation. Because I'm sure so many other student athletes have the same experience you do. And I'm just curious if you would be willing to share kind of what that was like for you and what lessons you learned that helped you even up till now.
Oh my God, so many lessons still learning from Coach Wright and his wonderful wife, Diane. I think one of the beautiful things about a lot of the teams that I was a part of, I was there for 5 years, was that we had a lot of iron sharpen iron situation. A lot of us spent a lot of time, I'm not sure if it's still called the power room, but we spent a lot of time in the power room. A lot of us were science majors, constantly studying, goofing off in the power room, also studying, doing papers. But we had a lot of that kinship. We would bring I remember Carrie Chatinsky was always bringing her textbooks to the gym. We would literally work out, then open our textbooks, ice on our knees and our ankles and all the things, and be studying or making flashcards. And I think surrounding ourselves with, for one, Coach Wright recruited us, and I think he had a vision for what he wanted our team to be on the court, but he really pushed us to be that off the court as well, and have those bonds with each other, that you have that friction where it does sharpen us all. So I think what I've really tried to seek out in my life post-graduation is that same. I'm never going to find what I found at Gannon in those individuals, but I do seek out people that will sharpen my own tools now. I feel like it's harder to do just because the bar was so high. But I do really seek out those people that will fan my flames and really encourage me and push me to be the best version of myself. So I think that's one huge lesson that was applicable then. It's applicable now as I'm in a more of a leadership role, with a lot of direct reports and nursing reporting to me. So that's something that I'm really trying to create, and it's much harder than it looks.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well above my pay grade. But I'm going to go out on a limb, Julie, and I'm going to say that you probably still have a lot of relationships from your teammates and Coach Wright, who I'm sure probably still badgers you from time to time. But I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. How important have those relationships been? The ones that you take from graduation, the ones that you took from your time as a student athlete, and how they've been impactful on you, and I'm sure for so many others that have graduated from this university and have played a sport.
Well, considering I texted our group chat last night, like, hey, I hope you all are tuning into this podcast.
I love it.
Plug. So if any of them are listening, I think it's incredibly, incredibly important. I think one thing I've learned about women by nature is that sometimes, well, a lot of the time, our female relationships are the most important. And the older I get, the more I'm realizing that my friendships, I always knew they were important, but they are incredibly important. And no matter how much time goes by, we all still have an affinity for each other, all acting like we were just in college. A lot of us just have kids and dogs and all of the things now that we're a little older, but those bonds are still there, and those friendships are lifelong.
I'll tell you what, when you talk about the bonds and the friendships, I know you didn't get a chance to get out to the alumni game. It was my first experience at the alumni game for women's basketball this past winter. Man, you guys are still really freaking competitive. It's wonderful to see. They almost had to put time on the clock at the end of the game because everyone was going to go into overtime. But let's talk about some of your memories that you had again. And obviously, the main one that comes to all of our minds is the 2009-2010 season. But like you said, you were there for 5 years. Do you have a memory or a moment that sticks out to you from your time at Gannon that will always just replay in your head in a positive way? And you can pick multiple if you like, because I'm sure there were so many.
I think some of my best memories are literally just hanging out with each other. I lived in Wickford with 4 other girls. A couple of them rotated in and out, but we just had so much fun just hanging out, like post-workout, sweaty, like I said, ice on us, like for hours, just talking, ragging on each other, literally talking about anything, life, basketball, social life. I think those are the memories that really last, whether we were in the gym, getting up early to go to practice. It's those in-between moments, when the ball stops bouncing, that, of course, I have memories of certain games and everything, but really I remember like just funny conversations or inside jokes or, getting ready to go out on a Friday night in the postseason when we didn't have to get up early. Those are the memories that really last and are the most impactful.
Julie Kleber of women's basketball alumni and a 2011 graduate joining us on the United podcast ahead of Day of Giving, which is 47 minutes away from right now. Julie, for so many former student athletes, and we've heard this, whether it's from you, from our next guests, from those who have just graduated recently, that participating in days like Day of Giving or other community events as alumni is so important and impactful to them. Can you share why that is for you and why a day like tonight going into tomorrow was so important for you as a student athlete, back when you were at Gannon, and why it's so impactful for you now, even being graduated for over a decade?
Sure. So one thing we really learned in Coach Wright's program was servant leadership, whether that was acts of service and whether that was sitting on a bus, 2 seniors bunking up together on one bus so a freshman could have a seat. Those are just some examples that come to mind of acts of servant leadership for each other. But it's something that I've always kept in my head as I go through my own leadership journey now, and really wanting to give back to the university that really made me, and the program that really made me who I am, or was very foundational for me. So I think it was just on my heart to give back and know that the resources were there for the next group of student athletes, specifically women's basketball, to have those opportunities, to have more opportunities, quite frankly, than we did. And we felt like we were extremely blessed, but with just how the world has evolved, I think there's just even more resources than there used to be to tap into. So we wanted to at least financially provide those opportunities.
How exciting for you as an alum has it been getting to see this team now, multiple Elite Eights in the last 2 years, of course, 2 straight regional championships? How exciting has that been to get to follow that and just get to see this team under the same coach that you played for have this kind of success?
Amazing. I mean, it just brings you right back to when we were there. I mean, yes, the group chat was going crazy I
can imagine.
Yeah, it's just blowing up, especially in those in the Elite Eight games, the regional games and everything. But it's just a testament to the longevity and the greatness of the program. And we're very excited that Coach Wright came back to his roots and has really seen the program through, multiple Elite Eights, back-to-back things, recruiting, amazing talents, smart, but consistency. It's the consistency that we see, that we were a part of that, the early years of that. And just to see it, it's hard to be consistent. Like he would always say, it's really hard to beat a team 3 times, let alone 4 times. So I think it's the consistency of the program that's been really enjoyable to see.
Yeah, and to your point, we saw the 4 victories over Seton Hill earlier this year. He preaches the same message even in 2025. A couple minutes left with Julie Kleber, women's basketball alum, joining us on the United podcast. There's thousands of universities out there, Julie, and we've seen several of them have success, and we know the climate of athletics has changed, certainly since you graduated, really even since the COVID pandemic came to an end a couple of years ago. What makes Gannon so special? What makes Gannon stand out from the rest of the universities in your mind, and maybe drawing on your experience in your time as a Golden Knight?
Well, if we're talking athletics, you're not going to have a better chance to win a championship than you will at Gannon University, at least in the D2 landscape. If you're a fantastic athlete, half of my teammates, myself included, probably could have gone to a low-level D1, but why not win a championship year after year? That's my pitch to student athletes who are teetering on that D1, D2, and get an amazing education. I feel like I had the tools. I feel like I also had access to a lot of professors, to resources that I might not have had access to. I would have gotten lost in a bigger university. I think what really drew me as a student athlete was that ratio. I'm not sure if it's quite the same. I think it was about 12-1 in a classroom when I was a student there. I'm sure it's a little bit different now. But that intimacy in the classroom, really having your professors know you more on a personal level, that personal touch really made an impact for me. And it was one of the reasons why I chose Gannon.
Last one for you, Julie, before we let you go. There is, of course, such an excitement around this day for the individuals who are part of it, right? The administration, the student athletes, the coaches. For the community, though, and for people who don't necessarily understand the impact of a day of giving, what would be your pitch and the reason why it's important in your mind for people to get involved in a day like tomorrow, just knowing how impactful it was for you when you were a student athlete?
Great question. I think the more resources that you give people, the better our society is going to be as a whole. And it doesn't matter what you give. You can give $1, you can give $1,000. If you give something, it shows that you're serving someone else. We're choosing to serve Gannon, and then being on the alumni board, I also I've been to a lot of our alumni board, our dinners, our distinguished alumni dinners, and the impact that the graduates of Gannon are coming out with is incredible. When we read a lot of these nominations, the people that are graduating Gannon University are going on to do amazing things. Mm-hmm. So I think if we pour into these individuals earlier in their career, while they're an undergrad or graduate at Gannon, I think we're going to do society a real good in having these people come out, graduate, and as corny as it sounds, truly make the world a better place.
Yeah, no, I'm on your train there, no question. I think you're going to like the Highmark when you get a chance to come out and see it. By the way, it's really neat, and the fact that again you get to step on the same court is pretty cool as well. Can't wait to see you in the alumni game. I'm already tabbing you if you're able to make it as the MVP. So for those in the group chat, don't let us down. But again, want to thank you, Julie, for being with us tonight, and thanks again for everything you've done with the program, and we appreciate you taking a few minutes and being a part of our United podcast this evening.
Thank you so much.
All right, that is Julie Kleber of women's basketball and alumni, 2011 graduate, and of course part of that incredible team in 2009-2010 who went 37-1 on the season. We're going to continue with our Day of Giving episode, extended here on the United podcast on this Thursday evening. We're talking women's basketball. Let's hear from the women's basketball team and head coach Cleve Wright on the importance of Day of Giving and what it means to so many of our student athletes on campus.
Getting basketball is like a second family to me. Obviously, like when we're all away from home, this is our family. This is who we spend most time with. These girls are like 14 built-in sisters, and they teach me hard work, discipline, and yeah, like Bruce said, just good life lessons, things that we can take.
Especially being from Erie, I think the support means a lot. To see the community come out to our games and support us in every way that they do. We've had a lot of good crowds, especially in the Atlantic region. That was awesome to have.
When we play for ourselves, we also play for our community, so every time they come out and support us, it makes us want to work harder so we can make them proud.
We love Erie, and we love the community, the way they come out and support us in games, and how they support us financially with their donations and their gifts to our program. It helps make our program what it is, and we appreciate not just the cheers, but we also appreciate the commitment of people giving money to our program, and we don't take that for granted. This year with Day of Giving, we have matching gifts from Cal Graham and from Kelsey McCoy. Cal Graham is a basketball alum. Kelsey McCoy is a women's basketball alum. That's up to $3,000. So if we can get other gifts up to $3,000, that's going to double to $6,000. And we would be so appreciative of that. And we're just excited. We're excited about Day of Giving and seeing the support that's going to be out there for Gannon Athletics and Gannon Women's Basketball. And then we're super excited about the coming summer and the coming year. So I just encourage you to support Gannon. You're valuable.
Day of Giving begins in 38 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. It is a 24-hour centennial celebrate exciting day for both Gannon Athletics and Gannon University as a whole. And as a reminder, our episode tonight ends at 8 p.m., but we take a 12-hour break, then right back on the air. Our Day of Giving live stream is in the Rec Center Fieldhouse. Tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., we'll have all of our university teams, student athletes, coaches speaking. Coaches are getting pied in the face. We're going to have some trivia, all that fun and exciting stuff on this Friday in excitement over Day of Giving. And that QR code in the top right corner of your screen is how you can get involved. Not sure if this guy's ever been pied in the face, but he deserved the opportunity to not have to be. So we're happy to bring him on, my friend, Mr. Well Witherspoon. Spoon, it's good to see you. How you been?
I'm doing fine. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Graduate of 68. He has been involved in the Gannon and Erie community for so long. I told you, my friend, that when I first saw you, the thing I was most excited about for you is you get to wear short sleeve shirts. I'm the dummy wearing the sweatshirt. It's been so nice outside.
Oh, my God.
So a little bit better than when you were playing in the winter in December and January. You know that all too well.
For sure.
It's great to see you. And, of course, we know how ingrained you are in the Gannon community. And just take me through, if you would, what it means to still be here in Erie and making an impact on the community. You know, we just heard from Julie Kleber and just how excited she was from afar to be a part of days like Day of Giving and whatnot. But you've been a part of this community for such a long time. Why continue to be a part of Gannon? And just for those who don't know and maybe have never heard from you, what it means to you to be a Golden Knight.
It means the world to me to be a Golden Knight. I was blessed to be offered to come here from junior college in Nebraska. And Gannon has set a time frame for me that I wasn't aware of until it's passed. But as I look back, with Gannon, that prepared me for the things that I've done and the things I'm doing today. Gannon prepared me to serve on city council, and I'm serving my 22nd year on city council. Gannon prepared me for that, but I didn't know it at the time. But as I look back with the courses that was designed for me, I wanted to take other courses, but my counselor said, Mel, I think you'll fit in this category. And most of the categories dealt with people. It didn't deal with the science aspect. They recognized that I was more of a people person. So they guided me in towards marketing, retailing, sales. And that's what I do today. I got to market the city. I got to market Gannon, and it's fun. It's time consuming, but fun.
I was going to say, you and Julie both talked about how the life experiences that you learn in the classroom can translate, and even on the court, can translate to your success in the community. And you know that almost better than anybody else. Take me through, if you don't mind, how important that impact was for you, and maybe some of the people that helped you out along the way that you really have taken some of that knowledge from as you've moved forward from graduating until now.
Of course, Dr. Rao from Ghana. Dr. Rao was a no-nonsense type professor, Professor Smalls. He was my marketing teacher, my sales teacher, my retail teacher. He was the type that said, sit the books down. We're going over to the Boston store and go through the Boston store with the salespeople. And we asked the salespeople what's the difference between these two purses?
Yeah.
And all they said was $5. So that information, we went back to the class, we dialogued, we wrote up a report, gave it to Mr. Sands. Hopefully nobody got fired because of that.
One of life's greatest mysteries.
Yeah. But he was the type of person that dealt with reality. Dr. Chikosi, he seems to me that he came right off the boat from Italy. And he took no stuff. He says, what's your name? I said, Melvin Witherspoon. He said, well, let me tell you, Melvin Witherspoon. I said, Witherspoon. He says, that's what I say, a Witherspoon. He said, what do you do? I said, I play basketball. He said, let me tell you one thing. We play no basketball in here. We study in here. You know study, you know play basketball. Do you understand? Yes, sir, I understand.
Absolutely.
And Mace Electronics was downtown. I went over to Mace, bought me a tape.
Oh, okay.
And I took it to class to tape him because I couldn't understand his dialect. And I got a B out the course, and I think I still got those tapes somewhere. I don't know.
Again, one of life's greatest mysteries.
Oh, my goodness.
Mel, you've got a lot of success in the classroom, but I think I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about some of your fondest memories. We could be here for hours, but take me through some of your fondest memories being part of the team, whether it's the 6-OT game, whether it's just the success you had with the basketball team. What are just some of the things, like when you're sitting around the fire with some of your former teammates and some of your former, the people around you, what are some of the first stories that come to your mind that you talk about? Because I'm sure you've hashed out a couple of stories more than once.
Well, the first story, and he's not with us anymore, but I always tell a story. Ben Wiley, which was one of our guards, I always tell him, I said, Ben, you may have enough points. I said, but you played 4 years and had 2 assists, Because, and I say the same thing to Willie Alford. It seems like every time they run a play, they'll start my side and they will go the other side. But Ben and Willie would always tell me, you're a big guy. You get it off the glass. And when he told me that one night, I was so mad. We played Edinburgh. And I set the rebound record that night. And I said, see, I didn't need to get the ball from you. They said, if we didn't shoot and miss, you wouldn't have got the rebound record. So I couldn't win with those two. The other one, yes, of course, the 6 overtimes. I remember that well. I remember Madison Purvey making that last bucket. But I also remember that our coach quit on us. When Youngstown, second overtime, Youngstown went up by 1 or 2, and time was running out. He got up, went in the locker room, and we all looked at each other. And the next overtime, bam, we tied the game. He came back out the locker room. And I said to Ben, I said, Ben, you see that? Ben said, yeah, let's just keep playing. Let's do our thing. And we did. And we were fortunate. We won that game. And folks told me at the time, Mel, you didn't come out the game. I said, I didn't. You know, all I know, I got nervous because I wasn't sweating. If I'm running and playing, I wasn't sweating. And my jersey was dry, but I was hustling and I was, they said, Mel, you just dried out. That's all. Your body was tired and you didn't know it. Then I found out that I was on the sporting news, and I didn't realize that was a record at that time. I think it's been broken by 7 overtimes by someone, but you just play the game. And through sports, it allowed me to say, never quit. And I don't think that would have happened for me if I wasn't at Gannon. I don't know, but I know I was here at Gannon, and the instructors. My best friend was Monsignor Nash. Oh my goodness. I had a problem with Coach Hardy. I was ready to go home. I said, I'm quitting, I'm done. And when I talked to Monsignor Nash, in his mild-mannered way, he said, Mel, things are going to change. Don't worry about it. You just hang in there. And I did. And hanging in there with Gannon, my instructor, one of my teachers, Mr. Dumford, my counselor, Mr. Finnegan, Mr. McLaughlin, they all put their arms around me. And I couldn't go anywhere. They were there for me. That's one of the things Gannon gave me, a feeling of family. You're not just a ball player, you're a person, you're a human being. You mean something to us. And to mean something to Gannon means I mean something to the community. And after graduation, I went to General Tell, stayed there for a year. And after that, I was in the community working as I am today.
You mentioned 2 words in that wonderful answer that I think is really a microcosm of what Gannon is pre, during, and post being at the university, and it's don't quit. You talked about the professors. They don't quit on you. The coaches, they don't quit on you. And as you know, it means that it's an extension of your hand after you graduate. Don't quit. They still continue to look after you. They still continue to mentor you. They still continue to be a part. And my next question was going to be about the community support, because you know this better than anyone. You work in the community. You have that relationship between Gannon and Erie. What makes Gannon and Erie community on days like this more special than what you'll find anywhere else across America? Because I think you and I both truly believe that you'd be hard-pressed to find a better community-university relationship than Erie and Gannon.
I believe Gannon, the university itself and the people that works with and for Gannon brings about a concern of the community. Gannon goes out in the community. How do I know that? I run a summer basketball league. I branched out to the west side at Bayview Park. Got a call one day. Gannon would like to be involved with that. Therefore, they're involved with the community on the Lower West Side. They're involved with the community on the east side. Gannon has a campus, even though the buildings are on certain streets, but the campus in reality extends to the entire city limits, and in some cases beyond. Gannon does not separate itself from any part of the community. Gannon relates to other organizations. They relate to Hammett. They relate to St. V's. You name it, Gannon's there. Somebody from Gannon works there. Somebody in this community from Gannon lives there. This is Gannon. You can change the name from Erie to call it Gannon, Pennsylvania.
I think what you just did is gave a proclamation to Governor Josh Shapiro to name it Gannon, Pennsylvania. I'm all a fan of it. I think everyone around here would be a fan of it too. Mel, we've talked so much about the community support, the relationship between Gannon and Erie as a whole. But even when you were playing, I know that days like tomorrow and wanting to get the community involved were so important. What would be your message to the community that you serve on a day like tomorrow where, and we really mean this, anything you're willing to do to support really matters? And I'm sure that you can speak to that.
Yes. Let me give you, and probably 90% of people don't know what I'm about to say. I never heard it. When I finished my eligibility at Gannon, that's when I found out that when I transferred from Scottsbluff Junior College, Gannon did not accept all of my credits. Therefore, my C's that I had would not transfer. They said, well, we have to drop them to D's, and we only accept D's. My B's went to C's, my A's went to B's. So I didn't know that. So I played my 2 years, passed my final comps, the whole 9 yards. And I went up to Dean Waldron's office because our names was on the list of graduation. And I said, Dean, my name's not on there. I haven't failed anything. He says, didn't they tell you? Tell me what? He said, you need to go see Mr. Finnegan. So I went over to see Mr. Finnegan. Mr. Finnegan says, what? You better go see Mr. McLaughlin.
Oh, no.
I said, what's going on? So that's when I found out. Yes, I was very upset. I was mad. And then there was a gentleman named Dutch Hoffman, who was a Gannon supporter. And Dutch Hoffman gave me a job at Kaiser Aluminum, third shift. He said, Mel, you don't have to do anything, but you have to study. So I went back to Gannon and I worked third shift, had a family, got my degree. And I said to my mother, I said, Mom, I'm ready to go home. We're going to go home in the morning. Got a call from General Tell. They said, we have a job for you, Mel. I said, no, I'm going home. My mother said he'll be there on Monday morning. And I've been here ever since. And I started at General Tell, worked a year, then went into the community as a director of one of the centers. And my relationship with Gannon was outstanding, always have been. I tell you that story because Dutch Hoffman made it possible for me to get my degree. He supported it. As a result, I supported. He supported me when I couldn't support myself to get my degree. There are other individuals today, young people, older people, middle-aged people, that would love to go to school, get a degree, but don't have that money. They need help. To help someone that you don't need to know the name. All you need to know is that you're giving from your heart to help someone. And that's what Gannon's about. Gannon's going to help where they can, but they can't help unless we, the people, give what you can. You may say, well, I only have $100 I can spend. Give it. because you know you're going somewhere. There may be 200 more people that can only give $100. It adds up. I plan to give. I know my friend Cal Graham, who I brought from Nebraska a year after me. I know he's a big giver, and he'll say, and he has said publicly, if it wasn't for Gannon, I'm not sure where I'd be. He went from Gannon to the ABA to owning his own security business, starting out with 3 individuals. Now he have close to 100. And that's what it's all about. He's out of town and he's supporting it. So we're asking Erieites, support Gannon, especially if you're alumni. But if you're not, look what Gannon is doing, especially on downtown and in the West Side. They are part of our community, and they want to educate young people, donating money. I'll tell you, give money. That's what we need. We need as much as we can. We want to meet our goal, and we want to help as many young kids and middle-aged folks who want to get their degree. The opportunity is there. And it's individuals like Cal Graham, myself, and Willie Alfred, who lives in Akron. We're asking all our teammates to give. Al Lawson, who's in Dallas, he's giving. And I know if Chatterton was still with us, he would be giving. So we are asking Gannon supporters, we're asking Erieites to support Gannon. We want to do our thing. We want to hit our goal.
There are very few people who know more and care more about this community and this university than Mel Witherspoon. And my friend, it has been a pleasure. We sincerely appreciate you taking some time.
My pleasure.
Mother knows best, doesn't she?
Oh, she do. She do.
I was going to say she knew where to have you, and let it be a life lesson for so many of us. Man, enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks again for being always with us, and we appreciate your support, my friend. It's great to get to see you.
Thank you, sir.
That is Mel Witherspoon, a graduate of Gannon University, a Gannon Hall of Fame member. Cannot say it better than this man who knows so much about Erie. We'll bring our next guest in just a minute as we hear from more teams.
Coming from freshman year all the way to senior year, I've gone through it all. I was the freshman of the team, and now I'm the captain, trying to lead these boys to keep doing better every day. And just Gannon golf's on the up every year. It's getting better and better. We've seen that go to nationals twice since I've been here, winning regionals last year. And just these guys I play with is my family, my life. While I'm here, it's awesome. They bring so much joy to everybody, and we all enjoy each other's company, and the trips we take and all that, it's awesome.
Our community support is very important because whatever we're doing right now is thanks to them. We get to play really good tournaments thanks to our donors, and I know that our community follows us every tournament we play, and we get texted by them, and it kind of like help us to get better because we know we have a lot of help.
Hi, Golden Knights. My name is Aubrey Skirlung. I'm a sophomore defender.
I'm Marla Smith, a freshman midfielder, and we're on the women's lacrosse team. We are now 2 weeks away from our annual Day of Giving on April 24th and 25th.
We really need your support. Our link is now live to donate.
Knight Nation family, this is Lisa Godden-McGurk, the Director of Athletics here at Gannon University. On this day of giving, I want to encourage you to donate to Athletics' Greatest Needs. When you support Athletics' Greatest Needs, you are supporting vital initiatives and services for our nearly 700 student athletes. This includes high-quality facilities, providing an awesome game day environment, health care for all of our student athletes, life skills programming, the end of the year Student Athlete Award celebration that recognizes the many accomplishments of our amazing student athletes, initiatives around Chi Alpha Sigma, the National Collegiate Student Athlete Honor Society. The list is endless. Please consider giving to Athletics' Greatest Needs. Together, we will continue to provide a transformational student athlete experience. Go Knights!
Myself here, 20.
We were just talking, Shelby Malone and I, off the air about graduation years, and I couldn't believe that she was in 17. She couldn't believe that I was in 2020. We just feel old. Mel's keeping us young over there. I can tell.
That's
I can
right.
tell you that much. No question about it. Welcome back in United Podcast. It is our continuation of our extended episode for Day of Giving, which is in 15 minutes, folks. In just a few minutes, we'll be showing you our update as to how much we have raised so far for our Centennial Celebrate Day of Giving. And again, a reminder that our 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. live stream coming your way on all of our social media channels and YouTube tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Shelby Malone joining us, competitive cheer and dance alum. She graduated in 2017. You, of course, have been part of it as an assistant coach as well. I'll tell you what, it is hard to believe how fast time has gone. But for you and the time that you graduated to now, take me through exactly what the excitement that you've been able to kind of take from your career at Gannon and how that's kind of helped you out through your career so far.
Yeah, wow. That's a really good question. I think if you're someone who knows me or who has talked to me in the past, I attribute a lot of my success to Gannon, a lot of my personal, professional. I wouldn't have met, my partner. I wouldn't have had, I still live here in Erie. So that is something that I hold very near and dear to me. I am from Michigan originally. So being recruited for the competitive cheer and dance program was, at the time, it was unheard of. There wasn't, in the South, cheer is a lot bigger, but up north here, it wasn't as big. So I remember getting the email from the coach, and I'm like, is this real? What is this?
Am I being scammed?
Yes, am I being scammed? But you know what? We took a risk. We took a chance, and we came out here, and I absolutely loved it. I fell in love with the campus, and I was very set on going to U of M.
Yeah.
That's, I was going to be a Wolverine. I didn't think I was going to cheer. I thought my career was going to be over, but I mean, Gannon just gave me the opportunity to not only do something that I love, but also pursue other interests and make other connections. So I'm very thankful for what I was, given here and the opportunities that I have, and really what Gannon still gives me.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, I think Gannon is a place where the gift just keeps on going. And I think I'm a person who can say that in true honesty.
So you take the chance, you come from Michigan to come to Erie at a university that you didn't really know before you arrived, and then your trajectory just takes off. Take me through the impact, the excitement, and the memories, and also the importance of what your career at Gannon gave to you, both as a student athlete and as a student as a whole.
Sure. So I was thinking about this a little bit. We have freshmen move in. We come in a little bit earlier as athletes. And so I remember walking through Finnegan Hall, and I came outside and my family pulled away. And so that was like, oh my gosh, this is really setting in.
Right.
But I was, I was nervous, but I was very excited because this was my chance to jump into adulthood. This was my chance to be independent. This was my chance to be a part of something bigger. So that was fantastic. I came in as a psychology major, and psychology is so big. You don't really know. No.
My family are all psychologists, and I asked them,
kidding.
and they're all different sort of sectors. And I asked them, I'm like, is any of this related? And they're like, yeah, no.
Absolutely.
So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. So I knew I wanted to work with kids, but I mean, psychology is so broad. I had no idea what I was getting into. So my advisor, I think about my sophomore year, we had advising day, and she goes, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, I have no idea. I want to work with kids. I don't want to be a teacher, but I still want to have that meaningful relationship with students and their families. So she talked to me about school psychology, and it really intrigued me. So at Gannon at the time, they had a minor in the exceptional child, which is special education. So not only did I take my psychology classes, I also took special education classes. And that really, I think at that point, really solidified what I wanted to do. And my advisor was just an integral part of me going to grad school and kind of finding my path as well. So she was fantastic. I, attribute a lot to her because I wouldn't have known about school psychology at all. Like, again, it's so broad. And there's so many different things that you could do, but that was something that was just touching to me. And I think that, as working as a school psychologist now, I think about that, and I want to do that for other people as well, because, you never know what your interests are and what you're going to do.
It's amazing. And again, you pick that career path and you could go a million different directions. But as Mel was talking about, you have people like Gannon who supported you through it and were able to really help you through it. And that kind of brings me to my next topic because, Mel talked about, the people that every single person I met, I had a memory with. And I'm sure whether you were a student or an athlete on the competitive cheer and dance team and as an assistant coach, Do you have some of those memories that you sit around wherever you go with some of your former teammates with and say, man, that was a lot of fun. I'm never going to forget that. Take me through some of your fondest memories and kind of what you'll leave, what you left with Gannon in terms of some of those moments in your life.
Yeah, so that's a good question. I think it's hard to pin one. So I guess I'll break it down into two. So for undergrad, being a part of a team was just such a big deal. I don't think I ever imagined myself being a collegiate athlete, and the experiences and the opportunities that we were afforded was just fantastic. On TV, you see a lot of the Daytona, the big competitions and whatnot, and I never thought that I would get a chance to go there, and we did, and it was awesome. There were just 13 of us on the mat at that time. We started off with 13 on our inaugural team. So it took a lot of courage. It took a lot of faith. It took a lot of belief in each other to make that happen. But that is something that I will never forget. The first experience there, and honestly, the last. I remember there's a picture that I have on my Instagram, and I look at it often. It's me hugging one of the younger teammates, and it was just, I don't know, I could hear my mom in the background, and she's like, you did it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that was awesome. So I think those times and what we experienced as a team, and the adversity that we went through was just, something that I still keep with me today. As an adult, coming back to campus, Gannon is always home. There is always people that you see, professors that you continue to connect with and see when you're on campus, and really just, I don't come down often. I live in Mill Creek, but just seeing how the campus grows and how it really connects with other students, that's fantastic. I mean, when I walk, I'm like, oh my goodness, this wasn't here, this wasn't here, and this wasn't here. And just seeing that all the improvements that Gannon made to benefit students is just, it's great. It's really good to see. And I'm glad that I get to be close enough to be able to continue to experience that.
I'm just curious, you were part of when the train started with competitive cheer and dance, to see where it is now and even the success of their last championships with 3 top 3 finishes at Daytona. How great has that been for you as a former student athlete to see how much this team has grown?
That's awesome. And, I don't know if many people can say that they have started, from day one, team one, up until now. It's fantastic. I commend the coaching staff and the athletes for keeping up and putting in the work, because it's not easy. Division II is very competitive in those scenarios. And I think that they do one heck of a job of really putting in work, putting their nose to the grindstone and getting it done. So I'm thrilled. I'm over the moon for all of their success. And I love, still being connected and getting to be a part of it in a way.
I was going to say, we've gotten to see them have so much success. I want to ask you, because I asked some of the student athletes on the current team when they were here, what is Daytona like? Because I'm starting to realize, and I think so many who watch this podcast are starting to realize, you had to make a top 5 list of atmospheres and events in Gannon University athletics. It's certainly in the top 5, and it might be close to number 1. What is that atmosphere like?
It's intense. It is. It's what you would expect it to be, but more.
Okay.
There is so much talent. Wow. Cheer, dance alike. They are incredible.
Yeah.
I feel like growing up, we used to watch it. So again, I never thought that I would be there on the band shell. It's quite the experience. The band shell itself, like getting to perform outside. I mean, we don't really perform outside. We're more of an indoor sport. So that's just an experience itself with the wind and the birds and everything. But everyone there is just, they're so happy to be there. They're, all there for the same reason. They want to compete. People are like high-fiving you, and, even so there are spotters in the back to make sure if you fall, you don't hit the ground or anything. They are cheering you on. It's just, I feel like it's an out-of-body experience. You come off the mat and you're like, holy smokes, did I just do that? And you did. It's great. It's cheer. It's stunts going on everywhere. It's tumbling going on everywhere. It's the cheer capital at that time.
And you get to do it on the beach. Nothing better in my view. No question about it. You talked about, Shelby, you still live in Erie. You're ingrained in this community. You know how important it is. But for those who don't, take me through the importance of the relationship that we see between Gannon and the community. Because as Mel and I were talking about, it's kind of second to none really across America, at least in our view.
Yeah, so hearing you ask that makes me think about, so when I was an undergrad, I was part of the travel program. And so because of donors, because of community support, I was able to get a scholarship to go to Israel. So not only was I able to kind of immerse myself in that culture, it also helped me kind of grow in my faith as well. So that was incredible. And then just from an academic standpoint, donors, community members. I was fortunate enough to receive academic scholarships as well. And I actually remember handwriting a note to whoever it was that donated to me. And I promised myself that if, whenever I became a real adult, I wanted to make sure that I gave back and I poured into the Gannon community. So what they do here, their presence in the community, I think there's something to be said about going to Gannon, being in that family and being able to go out. And, I work in a neighboring school district and people ask me about Gannon all the time. So they are very visible and they do so much for us students. I mean, even as an adult, I don't work at Gannon, but I still have so many connections to the Gannon community. And like I said, what they're doing is fantastic. So I'm very blessed and fortunate to still be able to connect with Gannon. And you still have so many, I'm sure, lifelong friends that you have from the team and whatnot. And again, we've been talking about all night. When you're Gannon, your family. And the last couple of minutes I have with you, Shelby, when you think about the relationships that you've been able to build and how that's kind of ingrained yourself in the community for the current student athletes and for people who are going through what you had the opportunity to go through, how important is it for them to be supported as well and for them to be able to have opportunities for those relationships? Because as we've been hearing all night, those carry even further than when you graduate and walk across stage. Absolutely. It's so important. That's your family. That is your home away from home. I think back to, I'm from Michigan and being quite a few miles away from home. Those were the people that I turned to. Those were the people who I knew always had my back through the good, the bad, the ugly. We were there for each other. That's something obviously that our coach instilled in us, and we are still very much connected. A lot of us are in each other's weddings or at baby showers or the godparents of our children. So immerse yourself, dive right in, take the risk, jump in, don't be scared. These are people who will be your lifelong friends. I mean, there's something to be said about this community being able to come back, being able to always feel at home. Take the risk. It's worth it. Absolutely. We've seen so many. We've heard from three that have talked about how worth it is. And man, what an exciting day and what an awesome opportunity. There's Daytona-like weather out here too. So that can only mean good omen. They don't really get that in Erie all the time at the end of April. But Shelby, I appreciate you taking a few minutes with us. And thank you. Again, congratulations on your success in and out of competition and outside of graduation. And thanks again for spending a few minutes. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, thank you. All right. Hope to see you at some point soon as well. But that's Shelby Malone, former competitive cheer and dance graduate and assistant coach, joining us on the United podcast as we are getting set to wrap things up with a couple of other teams that could use your support ahead of tomorrow.
I love the girls. They're such a different, a diverse group because a lot of them are international, more so than domestic. So you just get a lot of different cultural experiences. And it's really nice because everyone loves each other and treat each other like a teammate, and whenever I see them on the course, they always cheer me up and I always cheer them up. So it's just a really empowering program.
It really is super helpful. We get to travel to a bunch of different tournaments and more competitive tournaments and tournaments, farther south with more donations. So we really appreciate everything. And also just different gear and different resources. And the sim room, of course, is super helpful. So all those different things and tools just means a lot to us as a team.
All right. Coming from freshman year all to senior year, I've gone through it all. I was the freshman of the team, and now I'm the captain, trying to lead these boys to keep doing better every day. And just Gannon golf's on the up every year. It's getting better and better. We've seen that. Going to nationals twice since I've been here, winning regionals last year, and just these guys I play with is my family, my life. While I'm here, it's awesome. They bring so much joy to everybody, and we all enjoy each other's company, and the trips we take and all that, it's awesome.
Our community support is very important, because whatever we're doing right now is thanks to them. We get to play really good tournaments thanks to our donors. And I know that our community follows us every tournament we play, and we get texted by them, and it kind of like help us to get better because we know we have a lot of help.
Alrighty, folks, we have made it to that time. 2 hours of our podcast in the books, and in about 30 seconds, once Apple time catches up with us here, we're officially going to be in our Centennial Celebrate Day of Giving. Before we leave the show, once it hits 8, we're going to share an update with you with what we've been able to raise so far. And whether you are a Gannon alum, whether you're an Erie community member, whether you're just watching this podcast and have an intrigue and interest in Gannon athletics, we encourage you to give. Starting tonight and into tomorrow, we encourage you to be a part of so many of the great things that are going on with Gannon athletics. You heard from all of our guests, and what the community and Gannon has been able to do for them both in and out of competition when they played, as well as after graduation. It is a family here. It really is, whether or not you went here or not. And it's just wonderful to get to celebrate our Centennial Day of Giving with you starting right now. It is 8 o'clock, which means we are open. The Centennial Celebrate Day of Giving begins right now. And for the next 24 hours, you can learn more on how to give and how to be a part of our great efforts here on Gannon University's campus by going to that QR code. Before we let you go, we want to share an update with you with where we're at right now with athletics. You see the current total of 260 donors. We appreciate each and every single one of them for a grand total on the athletic side of $28,049. Our goal for each of our athletic programs is for each team to raise $5,000. And if that happens tomorrow, if and when it happens for all of our teams, you're going to see the head coach get pied in the face. What's better than that, right? The coach normally is the one bossing out all the directions. Now they're the ones that finally get a chance to get the business, if you will, from their student athletes. So that's where we're currently at right now. We appreciate everyone who has been a part of our Day of Giving so far at 8:01 p.m. And as we continue throughout the day tomorrow, we'll be giving you more updates as to where we stand and, again, how you can get involved and be a part of our Centennial Celebrate Day of Giving. That's it for our podcast tonight. But as we've been talking about, join us tomorrow, starting at 8 a.m., going all the way until 8 p.m. on all of our social media channels and on our YouTube page. We'll have an all-day live stream for our Centennial Celebrate Day of Giving. It's going to be a ton of fun. 12 hours of so many conversations with student athletes and coaches, some of the great memories that these teams have had. We'll have our Director of Athletics, Lisa Goddard-McGurk, on. We'll have the President, Dr. Iwanenko, on. Some other administration as well, and some alumni to boot as well. Some trivia questions for you done by our great Bob Shreve, who is so knowledgeable about so many of our athletic programs, and see if you can answer some of those questions. And of course, like we said, pie in the face. If a team reaches their goal, coach is going to get messy, and that's going to be an exciting thing to talk about as we move forward throughout the day. So again, we want to thank all of you for being a part of our podcast tonight and being a part early on in our Centennial Celebrate Day of Giving, which is live starting right now all the way until 8 p.m. tomorrow night. That does it for our podcast this evening. You can join us again for the United podcast next Thursday at 6 p.m., where we'll get ready for more spring sports playoffs ahead of softball PSAC championships in the last week of the baseball regular season. And of course, we're just a couple of weeks away from the men's golf Atlantic Regional. We'll see you all tomorrow morning, everybody. Get some rest and join us for an exciting day ahead on our Centennial Celebrate Day of Giving.